All right, what's up, everybody? We're going to go ahead and get this thing started here today. I want to welcome everybody here to a very special Lionshare training. We're going to rock this thing today. I hope y'all are ready. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of what we're doing something different. Maybe you didn't actually check the Telegram. Usually on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, we do an overview call. We have actually changed that schedule to where we're going to be working on what I consider the pillars of success. And it's not just going to be me, it'll be me a lot, but it will be others who will be coming out here as well that are training on different ways to build your business. And really, honestly, not just this business. I mean, any business that you have, because man, I know we're all entrepreneurs. So, my goal here today is to really give you as much as I possibly can. And I've said this last time, I really think there's like 4 to 5 pillars of business, starting with mindset, marketing, monetization, and then momentum of your business. And, I've talked about those 4 things for, I don't even know how many years, a long time, because I see that that's the process that's worked for me. And that's what I want to share with you. And there's many different aspects of that. And I don't claim to be an expert on any of those, but what I do claim is that I've had a real good opportunity here to be able to be in business for myself since 2007, 2008, like full, never going back to a job again. I've had my success and I've had my failures, but it always comes back to the same exact principles with any time, anything good is happening in my business life. So that's what I really want to share with you. And like I said, it's not just going to be me here every single time talking. We're going to invite others out who have had success in different areas, right? So there's going to be some people that are really good at YouTube. There'll be some that are great at Facebook marketing. Some that it just depends. I mean, there's all different types of things that we can look at going forward here. And then once we get some of these principles and some of these foundations in place, really being able to take that to anything that you want and being able to create success for yourself. And, I always say this, I know that when I come out and do these trainings or when I talk to people, I know that there's going to be about 10% of you that really lock into this. Okay. The rest of you are going to hear some of it. The rest of you are not going to hear any of it. Some of you are going to be on your phones. You're going to be on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever it is you do, that's where you're going to be here today. Now, I'm not picking on you. I'm just straight telling you the way it is. And I can tell you one thing that I'm going to be doing, on every one of these trainings is I'm just going to be straight up with you. Okay. If I hurt some of your feelings, it's not intentional. Maybe they need to be hurt, right? I mean, my objective here is to give you the best that I can so that you can really see what it takes, because a lot of people talk about wanting success. They talk about what they want for their family. They're willing to do whatever it takes. And even though most of you have the answer right in front of you, when you have a choice to pick up the phone to call someone or to do something for your business versus jumping on Facebook or any other social media platform or watching Netflix and chilling, those are the things that you choose versus doing the activity that you need to have success, right? So we're going to talk about some of those things. What is the sacrifice that you have to make in order to get to where you want? And what you're going to find out along the way is that some of you may not want to make that sacrifice, right? Maybe your pain is not great enough to make the change that you need to. And that's what, like Tony Robbins says, everything's built on pleasure and pain. Either the pain's so great that you make the decision to change, or the pleasure is so good that you're going to have to make that change. Those are the things that alter our brain to make us make those decisions. Now, I think there's a lot of different, obviously, philosophies on that and things like that. And what I have done over the years, I feel like I've collected information from a lot of different people. Some of them you would definitely know, some of you wouldn't. And combining that with my experience, I want to give you everything I can to help you build your business. Okay. And like I said, I mean, from my perspective, it's pretty simple. And just like in business and anything else that you want to do in life, I mean, if you want to be a great basketball player, there's only a few things that you have to do to be really good at basketball, right? You don't have to know everything, but there's some principles that you have to have in place. There's some of those basic fundamental things that are required in order for you to be the best that you want to be, right? So we're going to talk about some of those things today in regards to your business. We're going to talk about, really having some clarity on going forward with your business, whether it be in Lionshare or, like I said, in any part of your life. You can use some of this stuff. It doesn't just have to be with business. And I'm going to give you what I've done, from my perspective in the past the things that have helped me. And then hopefully you can take those and you can use those and you can share those with other people. That's my objective. And like I said, I don't take it personal. I mean, some of you are not going to be able to resonate with what I say. And that's why I said last time on the call, is like, you really have to find those people that you can buy into them, right? You can believe in what they're saying. You can see exactly what's going on and it makes sense to you. So some of you might look at me and be like, man, this dude, he's too abrasive. Like he came at us too strong. I can't handle that. We all need different type of coaching or mentoring, if you will. I mean, there were plenty of coaches that I played for that I couldn't stand, and some of them got the best results out of me and some of them didn't. Okay. So taking that into consideration, what we're going to talk about here today is basically the process in which you need to have in place in order to achieve whatever those goals are that you have set for yourself. Now, the reality is most of you probably don't have those type of goals for yourself set. And I'm going to be really transparent on a couple things too when it comes to goal setting and things like that, because listen, we've all been around, probably, maybe not, but I think all of us have probably been in those situations where we're either in a goal setting, session or seminar. We've heard what we have to do and all those things. So we're going to talk about some of those things, but I'm going to put it in a real life perspective for you, if that's cool, because I just think that that's where my brain works, right? It's easy to sit up there and lecture people on exactly what to do, but I want to put this into some real life opportunities for you and what it can do for you. Okay. So, here's the cool thing about being a human as we get into this. Today as a human being, you literally have, an unprecedented opportunity to make a decision in your life, right? And those decisions, you make them all the time. We both make small decisions, we make big decisions. But when I talk about decisions, I'm talking about the ultimate decision that you're going to make for you and your family. Okay. Now, whatever that's going to be, some of you will say that you make a decision and you don't, but there's a real difference. Okay. In truly deciding something and just talk about it or wanting it. Okay. And I'm going to tell you just a really quick story, and then we're going to actually get into it because it actually relates to what we have going on. And unfortunately for some of y'all are going to have to hear some of my stories in order for me to get my point across. So, if you want to mute out for this part, you can, but hopefully it will inspire some of you to some extent. Okay. So I'm going to break it down for you. So when I was in high school, I was not a very good student. In fact, I mean, out of I think there were like 400 people maybe in my class. I think less than that. I mean, whatever it was, I was ranked like in the bottom 10. Okay. Like literally when they sent out the rankings my senior year, I was in like the bottom 10 of all the different students. So I wasn't a great student, and it wasn't because I didn't have the brains or the aptitude. I really didn't have the work ethic. I mean, all I really cared about was playing sports and probably chasing girls, right? I mean, that was my deal. But when it got to be time to be my last year in school, the one thing I figured out is, all my friends, they were getting accepted to these schools, right? And I wasn't getting accepted to anywhere because I didn't have the grades. I didn't have the test scores. I didn't have any of those things that I needed, or at least I felt like I needed to get anywhere. So I made a decision. That decision was, look, if I can't make it on academics, I'm going to make it on athletics. I don't know what sport I'm going to play. I don't know where I'm going to play it, but I am doing something. And I made that decision like I made it. And, as a senior in high school, some of those things that were required in order for me to get to that point was I had to skip some stuff, right? I had to miss out on some of the partying and the stuff like that others were getting to do. And I made a commitment to do that. Well, I have to tell you, I graduated, I got out there, not one single soccer coach would look at me. Not one single soccer coach would even really talk to me. And, instead of losing that dream, what I did is I worked even harder. So my first year out of high school, I worked even harder to try to get to that. I couldn't get any coaches to look at me, right? Well, finally, I'm sitting there one day and I'm kicking on my own at this gym. Okay. So I'm playing soccer on my own at this gym. And all of a sudden this guy comes in and he's like, hey man, he's like, I'm coaching a soccer team. He's like, would you want to jump in and play with us because we're going to be short players? I'm like, yeah, man, I'll play with you guys. That's cool. So, I mean, it was a Sunday afternoon. I wasn't doing anything but working on my own skill, right? Because in my mind, even though people thought I was crazy, I was still going to play somewhere. Well, come to find out, this guy was a professional soccer player. And he asked me where I was playing soccer. I said, nowhere. I'd already graduated soccer. And he says to me, if I could send you to a couple different schools, would you go to try out? I was like, tomorrow I will be there. So long story short, I ended up playing at the same exact college that he did. He played professional, him and his brother, they were great players. But my whole point in that is I made a decision even that young that that was going to happen to me. Okay. It's the best, really, first time in my life that I remember making that serious decision on what I was going to do and taking the steps to make it happen. And that's what we're going to talk about here today is what you really want. What do you really want from your business and what is it going to take to get you to what you want to do? Okay. And there's some really basic things that we can do, but the hardest part for most of you is going to be really trying to figure out what it is that you want. And by what you want, I'm not necessarily talking just about money, right? Money is great, but I'm talking about the byproduct of the money. Like, what is it that you truly need and want from your lion's share business? What is it that you truly want as becoming an entrepreneur? Maybe you're just getting started in this entrepreneurial journey. Maybe it's that you want to speak on stages. Maybe it's that you want to be financially free to walk away from your job. Maybe it's that you want, there's different things that you may want. And I'm going to share some personal stuff with you along this way that I usually don't share with people, if you guys are cool with that, because there's some specific things in my life that I have right this very second that I work towards, and maybe that will kind of help open up your eyes to let you know why I do show up here every day, right? Why is James coming out here every single morning and night to do this? I'm going to give you some of those reasons why, okay? So you have a better understanding of that. But most of this training is going to be about you and what you want, okay? So the very first thing in this process is making a decision, okay? And that decision that you're going to have to make is going to have to determine, what it is that you really want to do. And let me be clear on something, okay? I think when most of you hear the word decide, it's like, hey, I'm just making a decision like, hey, what do we want for dinner? That's not really what I'm talking about, okay? I'm talking about making a decision that is so defined and so exact that you are literally burning every single bridge behind you to make sure that whatever that decision you make, that you can't go back on that decision, okay? So if you have decided today, hey, I've decided that I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to walk away from my job in the next 6 months, and I want to be able to make whatever, 5 figures a month. If that's your decision, great. So the next step is having, complete why. Why do you want to do it, right? I mean, it's easy to sit here and say we want to do something, but remember what I said that Tony Robbins says. He says that pleasure and pain are what dictates the direction that we make with our decisions. So we're talking about decisions. That's why I'm talking about him, not whether you like him or not, it doesn't really matter. The point is, what that decision that you're making, why are you making it? Okay. What is the purpose behind your decisions? Some people call it your why. Some people call it your reasons. I like calling it your purpose. Like, what is the true purpose that you are doing this for? Okay. So you've got your decision, you've got the reasons why you're making those decisions. And then the next thing you got to have is some clarity, right? Like, what direction are you really wanting to go with this? So I want you to think about this just for a second. When you think about where you're at right now and you think you're where you want to be, what is the exact thing that you truly want? Okay. And it needs to be so crystal clear. So when I talk about clarity, let me give you an example for Lionshare, okay? We are crystal clear on the vision of Lionshare being that we will be the king of smart contracts. We're crystal clear that we're not married, we're not committed to any specific cryptocurrency. We're married to this community, right? We're committed to this community to bring the very best opportunities that we possibly can all across the board when it comes to cryptocurrency. We're committed to giving value to this community every single day and creating a platform that is just unmatchable out there, where everyone in the world, when they think about smart contracts, they will think about Lionshare, right? That's pretty clear, right? That decision and that clarity is pretty clear. When we talk about, hey, where we're going in Lionshare, this is it. That's why we wake up every day and we're excited to come out here and do what we're doing, because it's not about today. It's about the decisions that we've made for tomorrow. Are you guys starting to get this? Give me a number one if you get what I'm saying here. Just show me a number one or give me a number one in here. Okay, so the decision, we've already made what the decision is. The decision is we're creating a community that's never been created in this lifetime, period. We're creating a brand that is second to none. That is the king of smart contracts. We're committed to that, right? We have complete clarity on what we're wanting to go. But see, that's just the business side of it. You have to do this for yourself. I'm giving you an example. And one mistake I'll tell you I made. I told you guys I was a stockbroker, right? For those of you who came last week, you know that I was a stockbroker, which means I managed money for a decade. What I didn't tell you is why I decided to do that. And the reason why I decided to do that is I was in economics class in college, and the professor went around asking everybody what they wanted to do. Well, I was already a junior. I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. The guy next to me said that he wanted to be a stockbroker. So guess what I said I wanted to do? I want to be a stockbroker. Now, that's crazy, right? Why would I take a career and go that path? Because what happened is I looked up stockbrokers and I saw that they got to wear pinstripe suits, that it was all about the money. It was all about this stuff. And that's what attracted me to it. So it's not that I really cared about stocks or bonds or any of that stuff. I just happened to go into that path. Now, the reason why I'm telling you that is because guess what? That path for me was a path of, even though I had success in it, it was a path I constantly wanted out, right? Because I wasn't following what my truth was. My truth, I had not even figured out what it was. And that's what some of you might be dealing with right now is like, hey, I don't know what I necessarily truly want. That may be defined over time, but you have to at least have a projection of where you want to go, okay? And I'm not talking necessarily about goals. I'm talking about what do you really want for you and your family, and why do you want it, okay? That's it. And once you decide what that is and you start moving forward with complete clarity, this is when things really start to change. You see, what happens most of the time is people make a decision, they talk about their why and, or their purpose or whatever they want to say. And let me ask you guys a question. Have you ever been, on a meeting or something like this, and someone's talking about the reasons why they do something, their why, and, the why is so strong that it makes you cry. Have you heard that? Make your why cry, make your why fly, all those things. I'm cool with that. Like there's no doubt I like that. But here, for me, I'm telling you my side of it, okay? My side of it is this. My side of it is, if your purpose is big enough and your purpose is strong enough, you're going to do anything in your power to make that happen. If you want it bad enough, you're going to want to make it happen. You've already made the decision, right? Now, why did I make that decision? It's going to be just as strong as the decision that you made. I'm going to share something with you guys if it's okay. And I don't, like I said, I usually don't share this story, but I'm going to share it with you really quickly, okay? I'm not going to give you the whole story. I'm just going to give you like where it was, where we're at today. And then, one of the things that I work for. Okay. So I hope that's okay with you. So, just to kind of tell you guys, my daughter, she's 18 now, but like 3 years ago, almost to the day, September 7th, 2017, we were in a really, really bad car accident. Her and I was driving and I flipped my car 5 times. Okay. And, she was ejected. Unfortunately, she was 15. She was about to turn 16. And still to this day, she's paralyzed. She's in a wheelchair. Okay. Now it's been a long road, right, to get it. But, there's so many great things that have happened in between there. And at some point, maybe I'll share that story in more detail. But here's the deal. Where we were to where we were today is day and night. I mean, there's a lot that happened in between there, as you can imagine. But at the same time, where she's at today versus where we want to go is still not where we want to be right this second. The reason why I'm telling you this is because there's so much new technology that's coming out right now to help people with spinal cord injuries. So, one of my reasons for doing this is I want to have as much money as I possibly can, that if I ever get to the point where we can be part of one of these studies, where I can get her into a situation, I want to have the financial means to do it, right? I'm willing to pay whatever that price is. If it costs me $1 million, I want to be able to write $1 million check to make that happen. If I can give her the ability to walk again and get some of the life back that she needs, I'm willing to do that. So you can see the decisions I've made, you see them every day. But the reasons I'm doing it, you may not understand my reasons. See, my reasons are pretty big. Now that you've heard a little bit about my story, I didn't tell you everything, but I wanted to give you like the perspective of where I come from. I think a lot of people think, hey, my God, this guy works all the time. I do a lot of that, but I do it for a reason. I don't do it just because of the money. You have to understand that. I do it because there's a purpose much bigger than just the money that I can share with you here today. Like I said, I don't I don't tend to share my personal life with anyone. But at the same time, I thought today would be a good example for you to be able to hear that. So I hope you're okay with that. And, when I say every single night that we all have our different challenges, we have our different struggles, that's what I'm referring to. Okay. I'm referring to, like, wherever you're at today, make the decision to change it, have a reason big enough to change it, and then have complete clarity on where you want to go. And let me talk just a little bit about clarity and being more specific on what you have. A lot of people, when they start making goals or they start talking about money or things like that, it's the same exact thing. Hey, write down your goals, read them out every night, and have them in a place where you can see them all the time. Has anyone ever heard that? Write your goals down, see them every day, recite them, right? Give yourself affirmations. Okay, I'm just gonna be straight with you. I don't do that. Okay, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. Okay, because everyone's brains work differently. My goals are up here. Okay, and my mindset is that if I'm going after something, I'm going after it. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do that, because I think a lot of us do lose focus. It's great to have something written out, but here's what I want to tell you. If you are going to write something out and you're going to read it every day, it better be as specific as you possibly can. You see, I'm a visual person. So in my mind, I can vividly see where I'm at versus where I want to be. That's what drives me. When I want something, like if I see something I want, my mind immediately goes to, how do I get that, right? And maybe yours does the exact same thing, but maybe you need those constant reminders. So as far as writing stuff down, being able to read it and being able to see it is great. But here's the point that I want to make. Outside of all that stuff, is that you have to have a complete clear picture on where you want to go. If you don't, you're not going to end up probably where you want to be. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because I think a lot of people in this business, especially, you got started in this business because you needed money. I got started in this business for two reasons. Number one, I couldn't stand my job, right? And number two, I wanted to make a lot more money than what I was making. Those were really the reasons. I could come up with some crap thing and tell you, hey, I was just looking to make things a better place. That's not the truth. The truth is I wanted more money, and I wanted to walk away from my job because I did want the time freedom to do the things I wanted to do. Can any of y'all relate to that? Give me something here. If you can relate to what I'm saying, right? You got started here today because your family needs money, but that can't be enough. That's what I'm here to tell you today. I hope you understand something. That can't be it. That can't be all of it, okay? Because you have to have some substance in your life, right? Because here's what's going to happen as you being an entrepreneur. I have had success. I've had companies fail. You guys, I guarantee you, if I ask out there today, some of you have probably even read articles about me. You've read articles maybe about companies that I've been part of, and you're like, man, what's going on, man? What happened? This guy's made the news again, right? Let me tell you something. As an entrepreneur, you are going to have ups and downs, right? So you have to have some substance in your life that's more than just a meeting like this, that's more than just your goals, that's more than just your clarity. You have to have some substance, okay? So that goes back to you being able to work on yourself every single day and surrounding yourself with the type of people that you need to feed that brain. So when things go haywire, when things go bad, when unpredictable things happen in your life, you don't just go back to that mode of, hey, I have that broke mentality. No, you push forward and you push through it. So clarity, having complete clarity on where you want to go. I can't give you the answer to what your clarity is, okay? But here's the cool thing about it. Every single one of you already have it inside of you. You just got to find it, right? You have to search for it. But I want you to understand something. If you get off this call here today and you start your process of making your decision, figuring out why you're making that decision. And when you get to the clarity part, if the only thing that you can focus on is, I want to make $500 a month, that's not clear enough. Okay. You have to be specific on exactly what is that going to do for you? Why are the reasons that you want that? Okay. I gave you a very personal reason to me. I want to be in that position to be able to do that for my daughter. Okay, that reason enough, that is reason enough for me to show up here every day, right? It may not be that way for you. You may not have any of those situations in your life, but you probably have something that you're working towards that can make your life better or make your family's life better, that can have you show up. And, I say this, I bet I've said this like 1,000 times. I know I've even said it to y'all. I've had the chance to really get out there and speak to a lot of people in my career, okay? And one of the things that I always hear is like, James, show me the path, show me the way to do it. Show me, if you could show me how to be successful, I'll do whatever it takes. And honestly, it's just not the truth, right? Most people will not do what it takes. They'll talk about doing what it takes, but they're not willing to really, truly do what it takes. And that's going to kind of lead me into my next thing. And then we're going to get in we're not going to spend a whole lot more time today because we're going to come back here on Thursday and we're going to talk a little bit more about this and turn this into, now that we have this foundation of deciding the reason why we made the decision, the clarity on what we want to go, what are the requirements now? What do we actually have to do to make this ball rolling, right? So this is kind of a part one deal of, hey, let's get this part figured out. So when you come back here on Thursday, you should have already made that decision. You should have a purpose big enough, right, that makes you make that decision. Now, let me be clear on something. That may have nothing to do with Lionshare. Okay. And I don't care if it does or it doesn't. My goal here is to give you value on your life, right? I'm not here today to sell anyone on Lionshare, whether it's Lionshare or any other company or whatever. Maybe it's just your health. Maybe we're talking about your health goals. I don't care. This can work in any part of your life. Okay. So just keep that in mind as we're going through this. This is not anything to pitch you. So here's the deal. We decide, we have the purpose, we have the clarity. The next step, like I said, will be the action steps of where you want to go and what you want to do. But I want to tell you something, okay? As I said, people constantly say, hey, they're going to do whatever it takes. You understand that since 2007, when I very first got started in this, the sacrifices that had to be made on me and my family and in many areas of my life are crazy. Now, let me be clear on something. I'm not telling you that to be like, oh, poor James. I mean, I hate that for him. No, I'm not talking about that. Here's what I'm talking about, okay? There's many of you here today that you say you want success. There's many of you here today that say you will do whatever it takes as long as you can help you and your family, if you can have that lifestyle, if you can walk away from that job, if you can buy that car, whatever it is, whatever your goals are, it's cool. But the reality is most of you won't do it. And this is the reason why. I'm going to give you some more examples. I've missed birthdays. I missed my youngest daughter's preschool graduation. I've missed so many life events, and I did that while building an organization, while building a company, while hearing people constantly saying, man, you're a workaholic. Why do you work so much? Oh, well, James is out of town again. He's out there, building the business. I mean, what is he doing? You see, you're going to have people in your life that are constantly questioning why you do what you do. They can't see what you see. It's okay. They don't have to. It doesn't matter. Do you think I ever cared one time what someone else thought about what I was doing or what I wasn't doing? They had no idea what I was working towards, what I was working for. And that goes back to that substance, because when things get rocky, it's easy to start to listen to some of those things, right? Right now, if I had to guess, let me guess here. I had to guess right now, some of the people in your life are questioning why you doing that lion's share, why you show up to those meetings every day, right? You're not even making any money yet. You've cost our family money, right? And you show up there every day. Now you're taking time away from our family. I see people on their, like at work, that will stop their work, that will show up to these calls, right? I've seen people literally working in the background. Your workers are going to think that you have lost your mind. They're going to call someone to come pick you up to take you to a special place because they think you're crazy, right? That's what happens in this industry. There are so many naysayers. There are so many things that are stacked against you. And that's what I'm saying. If all those things are in place, if you've made the decision, if your purpose is big enough, if your clarity is there, all the crap and all the BS that you are that you have to deal with, it just becomes part of the noise, right? So when they do call you a workaholic, or they do say, hey, I can't believe you're doing that. You don't have to believe it, because guess what? The same people that were questioning those things are the same people that when they started to notice that my lifestyle was changing. Man, what are you doing? You hiring? You got a job for me over there? I had someone yesterday literally ask me, hey man, are you hiring? You got a job? They quit their job at a golf course, and they're like, man, you got something going on over there that I can do? No, bro, but I don't. I really don't. But I have something that could maybe help you, right? I mean, people always want to know what you're doing. So my whole point is this, okay? The obstacles are going to come, but you have to be willing to make these sacrifices. It's not enough to make the decision. It's not enough to have the purpose of why you're doing it. It's not enough to have even the clarity. It's the next steps that are going to take you to where you want to be. And we're going to talk more about that on Thursday. But I want you to understand something, okay? I want you to understand what you're signing up for as you get into this, okay? As you get into this thing, you have to realize what you're going to miss in your life in order to be able to achieve it. And you got to be willing to do that, okay? Now, on the flip side of that, I want you to think about this. Even though I've missed some of these things, at the same time, I've spent so much time with my kids that other dads couldn't do, right? I was watchdog dad so many different times. I mean, that school knew me. I showed up at that school so many different times. My daughter that I missed her graduation at preschool, guess what? I showed up a day before, and the school did a pre-graduation, a practice graduation. I was the only parent there. I got to bring flowers. They let me come in. So I got to spend that moment with her, but I was in Columbia the next day on stage showing a video of her singing to people and saying, look, this is what I'm missing for you, right? This is what I'm missing for you. I had to show them that because I had to have people understand how committed I was to the process at which I go through. And you have to be that committed as well. There's going to be some things that you miss. There's going to be birthday parties that you miss. There's going to be some Netflix shows that you have to miss, right? You guys understand that? I mean, it's crazy to me how committed people are to watching a series on Netflix, but they're not committed to their own family building the business. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, don't come out and say that you want to do something and then spend your time as soon as you have that opportunity away from your family to get on Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or Snapchat or Netflix and chill. Like, if you can't expect that you're going to get the things that you want in life if you're not willing to have the sacrifice that it's going to take to get there. So most of you will not do it, okay? And I know that you probably don't like me saying that, and you're like, man, he's supposed to be uplifting, and he's sitting here dragging us. I'm not. I just want you to be aware that, most of you will not do it. I had to hear this as well, because when that person told me, hey, most of you won't do it, I was like, watch and see. I'm doing this thing. Watch and see. I had that type of mentality in me, and some of you have it and some of you don't. But the reality is this: every one of you in every aspect of your life, it may not be lion share, okay? It may not be business. It may not be entrepreneurship. There is something in your life that you are devoted to. There is something that you have made a decision on, okay? That may be your health. Maybe you made a decision on your health, last year that you were going to get fit, and you've made that decision. And the reason why is because maybe you had a health scare, or maybe you just want to be able to live longer for your kids, or whatever it is. You've been down this road in other parts of your life. You probably just don't know that you've done it, okay? I want to ask each and every one of you before you get here back on Thursday to do a couple things. I want you to look at some areas of your life that you've had success in. Now, a lot of you might be in that mental space like saying, well, James, I haven't had success in any part of my life. Bull. You sure have. I know you have. There's some of you that are amazing moms or amazing dads, right? And the reason why is because you made a decision to be. Think about how many bad moms and dads out there. There's some of you that are amazing spouses, right? You do amazing things for your spouses. There's some of you that give back to your church. You're that person at church that when people see you, man, that is the reason why they showed up at church, right? Because you give that back to them. We all have different gifts. We all have different talents. There's no doubt about it, right? I'm going to ask you to think about some of those things in your life that you have had success with. And I guarantee you this: if you really think about it, you can look back in time and you can remember when you made that decision that you were done with whatever you were doing, the direction you were going, and you made the decision to move forward. It can be health, it can be spiritual, it can be business, it can be your family, it can be many different things. But I want you to think about that. Think about those things that you have done good, that you're proud of yourself for, right? That you've gotten compliments from. I want you to think about those and think about that process. Even though you didn't know that you did it, I promise you, you made a decision, and the reason why you made the decision is because of something, right? And that decision that you made, the purpose, the reason why you made it was so big that it caused you to have complete clarity on what you wanted to do. And then the next step we're going to talk about is the action steps, right? And we're going to come back on Thursday and we're going to talk about some of those things that are required to get you moving in the right direction for your business. So come on Thursday. The things that we're going to talk about are, how you can move forward in business. You can relate it to anything in life, but we are going to talk specifically about your lion's share business, how we can get it to the point where you're doing the right type of activities to move your business forward. Because see, here's what happens in this business, unfortunately. Usually what happens is people will show up, okay, and when they very first start, they're fired up, right? I mean, they've already had the fight with their spouse or significant other about spending the money to get started, right? And this is the one. Can anyone relate to what I'm saying here? Am I crazy? Or can you guys get what I'm saying? Yeah, right? We've all been there. Like, usually, I mean, sometimes some of us are lucky and our spouse, our significant other will be like all in on whatever we're doing. But usually it takes a little bit of convincing in order to get to that point. So you're hot. I mean, like you're fired up. As soon as you join something, you are ready to rock and roll, right? This is the one. And life begins to happen. You begin to get into some of those old habits. My goal here is to keep you in a process and a mindset that you can continue to work forward. I promise you that if you show up to these calls like this and you make sure that your team is out here, you're going to be really shocked on what can happen. Okay. Just by everybody being on the same page, what can happen with a business. I'm going to give some props out here to the lady. For those of you who don't know her, I've talked about her a few times. She's from New Zealand. The reason why I want to talk about her is because, I look at the process in which they run their business and they're so organized. They're from New Zealand, by the way. And there's a lot of cool teams out there. So I'll use different examples, but what I like about them is that they teach everybody the same exact thing, right? They teach everybody to basically have their own little family inside of this big family. And the process works, right? And every single day they're working towards that and they preach that and they've committed to that process because the process works. But here's the deal. The reason why the process works is because they got commitment, right? They got everybody committing to doing this and they've surrounded themselves with each other. So when that negativity starts to come in, guess what? They can put their earmuffs on, right? They don't even hear that noise. All they can see is like where they're going and what they want to achieve. When you talk to them, their goal is to get to the very top, right? If you talk to anyone in that thing, they call them trees. Their goal is to get to the 16th tree, right? That's what they're looking to do. And I'm just using that as an example, guys, because I know we all have different financial goals and stuff like that. I told you what mine was. Remember, I said that when I very first got started, the dude told me that I could make $50,000 in 6 months if I would commit to it, and I committed to it, and it didn't happen. Right? A year into it, I was like serious in debt, and there were reasons why. But most of it was right up here, and my willingness to want to follow everybody else instead of going in the direction that I should have. So listen, I don't want to take too much time here. I get long-winded on these things because I get so excited about this because I know for a fact there's some of you sitting here today that you will come and you will say, hey, those trainings that you did, and you may not even be at Lion's Share, which I could care less, right? You might come to me at some point and say, hey, man, that really helped me out. That really opened up my eyes. Or just that one little nugget, right? That's what I loved. Like when I would used to go to seminars, I would get one little nugget. Some of the people I couldn't handle, I didn't even want to listen to them speak. And I may be that person for you, which I get. But man, there was always one or two things that I got from these seminars or these things that I was doing that I could take and I could really run with. And that's what I hope I give you here today. Just something that flicks that switch just a little bit to open up your eyes enough to say, hey, I haven't been doing this. I haven't really been doing this. And we all know, I mean, here's the cool thing about being a human as well. Not only can we make a decision and do it right this very second and going forward, it changed. If I made a decision right this very second that I was not going to eat a carb, for the next month, I'm guessing that my weight is going to be less 30 days later, right? Because I made that decision and I can do that because I'm human, right? But the path in between there might be kind of tough, right? I might be starving to death and everything else. So that leads me to the question, is my why or my reason or my purpose big enough to wait those 30 days, right? Maybe I'm training for something. So that's a different way to look at things and maybe give you a different perspective. So here's the deal. Here's the homework, right? There's not real homework, but here's what I would ask you to do. All right. By the time Thursday comes around, there's a few things I want you to do. Number one, I want you to look back in your life right this very second. And I want you to figure out the things that you are good at, that you've had success with. Now, if you're sitting here right now and you have it in your mind that that does not exist, I want you to wake your butt up, open your eyes, and look around, because you have had success in something, whether it be sports, whether it be with your family, whether it be spiritual. Like I said, maybe you're that person at church that people walk into. Maybe you're a great singer. There's so many different things that you could be good at. So I want you to think about some of those things that you feel like, hey, I stand apart from most other people. I stand apart, and you have to find that thing. Okay. Now, the second part of that is what is it that got you to that point? I want you to think back on that. Like, what is it that really got you to that point? Now, some of you are going to be like, it's just because I did it for so long. Right. But somewhere along the way, you had to make the decision that you were going to do that. Right. So think about some of those things that you've done. Think about the decisions you had to make, and the reasons why you did it. And I think you're going to be shocked looking back on some of these experiences that, man, what James is saying is true. I remember making that decision. I remember why I made that decision, right? So I want you to do some of that. And then I want you to think about, whatever it is that you achieved. Okay. So if you're a phenomenal singer or painter or whatever it is, the decision you made, the reasons why you did it, and the clarity that you had. Why did you want to be the best that you could possibly be? Okay, so that's number one. Just think back in life. That should be an easy process. You should be able to do that today. The second thing that I really want you to come with on Thursday is, what is your decision going forward? Okay, what is it that you have decided to do for you and your family? Now, let me be clear on something. Whether it involves Lion Share or not, I don't care. I hope you understand that. Like, I don't care. It's cool if it does, but if it doesn't, so what? You can still get value from this going forward, okay? So that's what I want you to do. On Thursday, I want you to come with whatever that decision it is. If it's a health decision, if it's a business decision, if it's a spiritual decision, right? If it's a family-oriented decision, whatever that decision is, you come with it, okay? And I also want you to come with why you have decided to make that decision. What is the real, true, deep down, honest reason why? I told y'all when I got started in this business, my deep down reason wasn't any deeper. It was pretty shallow. It was like, hey, I wanted money, right? I mean, like, that was it. Like, I wanted money. That was the truth. I mean, I wanted to walk away from my job. But the reason why they were so shallow, and my reasons were what one might consider shallow, is because I didn't truly understand where I was going. Once I figured that process out, like, I understood now, hey, this is why I walked away from a job that was paying me six figures with no benefits, and my wife and my entire family think I'm crazy. Like, this is the reasons why I did it. Okay, so you're going to be able to get some of that. So come on Thursday, have your decisions, the reasons why you made your decisions, and where you truly want to go. Like, where do you want to head? Like, what are you trying to achieve in your business, in your life, in your health, in your spiritual? What is it? What is the direction that you're really, truly wanting to go? I'm talking crystal clear clarity. What is it that you want, and why do you want it? Okay. If you come with that on Thursday, the next process that we're going to go into is some of the activities that are required in order for you to get what you want. Now, let me tell you guys something. Okay. Here's the deal. Some of you are going to get bored with this, and some of you are not going to do it. And I, not being any way, that's okay. Like, that doesn't hurt my feelings, right? This is on you. It's not on me. I've been through this process, and I'm still in the process. So some of you will take it and use it. Some of you won't. That's up to you. But here's what I do know. If you follow what we're doing here and you come be part of this community that we're creating every Tuesday and Thursday, I think that you're going to be shocked what is going to happen for you and your family. I truly do. Or you and whatever your goals are, I think you're going to be shocked on what it is. Now, I want you to notice something. I didn't one time tell you to write down your 25 goals. I didn't tell you one time to read affirmations to yourself. I'm not saying that stuff doesn't work. My objective here is to give you the way I've done it. Okay. There's many different ways to do it. My objective is to point you in the direction that has worked for me, and I've seen it work for a lot of people. Okay. It's not going to be as technical or as maybe, I don't know if frou-frou is the word, as some others are. but it's worked for me, right? And I'm a pretty just like mellow, down to earth dude, and this is what's worked. So I'm just going to tell you like it is. So come with that on Thursday. We're going to talk about the activity steps to get you there. Now, just so you know, just to kind of give you a teaser of where we're headed. Okay, it's not a 1-day session. It's not a 2-day session. It's a process, but the process is going to lead us from this foundation to now. Okay, now that we've got this foundation, we know where we're going, the action steps to get there. We're going to dissect those things. Okay. So we're going to be talking about specific type of marketing, and not only the marketing that goes into it, but what is required for you to start attracting people to you. If you remember on the last call, I said, hey, would it not be amazing if you had people chasing you instead of you chasing people, right? That's what I want to show you how to do. There's a reason why my phone rings. I mean, you want to have more leads than you have time. Do you understand that? That should be your ultimate goal, is to have more leads than you have time. Have more people calling you than you have time to deal with. It's overwhelming, but at the same time, what a blessing it is, right? Imagine the mindset shift that you could have if you didn't have to be like calling people, begging them to do something, versus them calling you saying, hey man, what's going on? What are you doing? You know, that's the process. That is where we're headed. We're headed in the direction to show you how you can attract people to you, and also implementing the best marketing strategies that you possibly can to not only build this business, but you can take it and do it with whatever business you want, right? So it's going to be really important. So listen, I sure didn't mean to keep y'all 50 minutes. I hope that y'all got some value out of this. You know, I got a lot of messages here on the chat, and I'm going to be straight with you. I did not read a single one. So don't take it personal. I'm going to read through them just really quickly as we're going here. For those of you who said you got value out of this, I really appreciate that. I hope that you did. So listen, we're going to replay this tonight. I recorded this. We're going to replay it on the call tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if your team didn't come out, we're going to play this, and I might come out at the end after I play the recording and just like answer some questions and do some stuff like that. So that's my thought process, is to bring people out, you know, and have them watch this that can't make it during the morning time. So bring that to me on Thursday, have those things figured out. Let's make that decision, have the reasons why, the clarity on where we're going, and we're going to talk about the action steps. And I mean, I can't, I'm excited, as you can probably tell, because I know where this is going to go. For some of you, this is going to be a life-changing event. It's not going to be because of me. It's going to be because you took the time to do it. So listen, I want to tell y'all thank you. I really, truly hope y'all got value out of this. If you did, make sure to come back. And let me tell you something, make sure that you get every single person that you can on the call here tonight, so they can watch this stuff as well. We'll also throw this up on YouTube and stuff like that. So y'all, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I love doing these type of trainings, and we'll see you tonight. And remember, Thursday, do not forget about Thursday, right? That's where things start to change for you drastically. Okay. So thank y'all so much. Have a great day.